She was shivering when Ethan Brooks noticed her sitting alone on the curb outside a quiet downtown restaurant. Her elegant black dress was stained with spilled wine, one high heel lay several feet away, and she hugged herself against the cold as late-night traffic rushed past without slowing down. Groups of strangers glanced at her, whispered, and kept walking. Ethan tightened his grip on the paper bag holding leftovers for his 8-year-old son, Noah. As a single father, he had learned that sometimes the world expected someone else to step in. Tonight, no one else was. He approached carefully. "Miss? Are you okay?" The young woman slowly lifted her head. Tears had ruined her makeup, and her eyes struggled to focus. I don't know where my phone is." Her words slurred together. Ethan immediately kept a respectful distance. "Did someone hurt you?" She shook her head before bursting into tears again. "They left me." He looked around the nearly empty street. "Whoever they were long gone. I can call the police or an ambulance if you need." She rubbed her forehead. "No police, please." Ethan hesitated. Every warning he'd ever heard flashed through his mind. Bringing a stranger home could become the worst mistake of his life. Yet leaving her alone felt even worse. He pulled out his phone. "I'm calling my neighbor first." A few minutes later, Mrs. Carter, the elderly woman who often watched Noah after school, answered on speaker. "Ethan? I found a woman who's clearly drunk and alone. I'm not comfortable leaving her here." Mrs. Carter listened quietly before replying. "Bring her over. I'll stay with you both until morning." That settled it. With Mrs. Carter waiting at the apartment, Ethan helped the stranger into his old pickup truck, making sure she sat upright with a blanket across her shoulders. The entire drive she quietly cried. "I ruined everything." "No," Ethan replied gently. "Tonight isn't forever." She gave a faint laugh. "You don't even know me." "No," he admitted. "But everybody deserves one safe night." When they reached the apartment, Noah peeked from behind the hallway. "Dad?" "It's okay, buddy." Mrs. Carter smiled warmly. "I've got hot tea." The young woman looked embarrassed as she stepped inside. "I'm sorry." "No apologies tonight," Mrs. Carter interrupted. They settled her onto the couch with water, aspirin, and a blanket. Within minutes, exhaustion overtook her. She was asleep. Ethan carefully placed her small purse on the coffee table. There was no wallet inside. No phone. Only lipstick, tissues, and a tiny silver bracelet with the initials AM. He assumed those were her initials. The next morning, sunlight streamed through the curtains. The smell of pancakes filled the apartment. The stranger slowly opened her eyes. For several terrifying seconds she panicked. Then she saw Noah happily setting the table. Mrs. Carter knitting. Ethan cooking breakfast. Nobody was staring. Nobody was judging. Nobody expected anything. She whispered, "Where am I?" "In a safe place," Ethan answered. She immediately sat upright. "Oh my God. What?" "My phone. We couldn't find it." She buried her face in her hands. "This is a disaster. You can use mine." She accepted his phone with trembling fingers. She dialed one number. No answer. Another. Straight to voicemail. Then one final number. Someone answered immediately. "Dad." Silence. Then tears rolled down her cheeks. "I'm okay." She listened quietly. "No, someone helped me." Another pause. "I'm coming home." She handed Ethan his phone. "I don't know how to thank you." "You don't have to." She smiled weakly. "I'm Ava." "Ethan." "Noah." The little boy waved enthusiastically. And that's Mrs. Carter. Everyone laughed. For the first time since arriving, Ava smiled without forcing it. Before leaving, she searched every pocket of her dress. I don't even have money for a taxi. Ethan grabbed his truck keys. I'll drive you. The trip across town remained mostly quiet. Finally Ava spoke. You never asked why I was drinking. I figured you'd tell me if you wanted. She stared out the window. It was my mother's birthday. I'm sorry. She died 3 years ago. Neither spoke again until the truck stopped outside an enormous gated estate. Ethan blinked. You live here? She looked uncomfortable. Yeah. Security guards immediately opened the gates. A middle-aged man rushed outside before the truck even stopped. He pulled Ava into a fierce hug. I've been terrified. I'm sorry, Dad. The man finally noticed Ethan. You brought her home? She needed help. The older man's eyes softened. Thank you. He extended his hand. I'm Michael Monroe. Ethan shook it politely. I'm Ethan. You've done more for my daughter than you'll ever know. Ethan smiled awkwardly. I just did what anyone should. Michael quietly replied. No. He glanced toward the silent security team. Most people don't.